Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video I want to go over a few things that I talked about in yesterday's video when I was going over golden auction videos. Um, the first one that I'm going to talk about is that was completely on my part. So when I was talking about this booster box here, I didn't even read the title, or I just missed it or something like that, because I got a call from a guy at Golden. He was like, hey, let me explain, and he was going through what he was talking about with the boxes. Like, we can see the red trading card game, and that's why we put that it was possible shadowless, because they're short crimps, and it doesn't mean that the cards inside are shadowless. He's absolutely correct. I completely missed that in the fact. I guess I didn't take enough time to read the title, and so that was an unfair and inaccurate evaluation that I had made about this booster box. And so when you're looking at it, while I do think that the wraps do look kind of suspicious on it, um, this right here, where I was talking about how this is broken and you should be at least be able to tell what kind of packs are in there. They can. In fact, they say it in the title and it's in the description as well. I don't know how I missed that part. It's pretty obvious. It says that it's a green wing Charizard, 36 short crimp packs, possible shadowless. So what it's saying here is that the pack arts inside of this booster box are indeed, they're the shadowless like front like you would normally see, but because the crimps are short, then the cards inside may or may not be shadowless, because it has been the case that typically with the short crimp, there is the availability to see packs opened up that don't have shadowless cards inside. In fact, I hadn't seen one of those videos. I had never really sought them out, but I had never had that experience. I think Cam, he was like, hey man, I actually did see one of these. He sent me a short video where somebody opened up a short crimp pack and the cards inside were not shadowless. So whether that's like a 50-50 shot, that's what most people say it is, or it's higher, I doubt it's lower. Who really knows? But the cards inside may or may not be shadowless, but the pack art is. And that was the main thing that I was saying that you should be able to tell. You should be able to tell whether or not the pack art itself indicates whether or not these are shadowless packs, which would be an earlier print, which is what you should expect from a base set green wing Charizard box that has one location on the bottom. It's not always the case, but it should be the case usually. Now, the other case is if it was long crimp, then anytime we've ever seen those open up, those have always had shadowless cards. It's the same crimp style as first edition. So that was my fault. It does state that. The other thing that was addressed in the video, I was talking about the X-ray authority. I was pretty critical of that process, and I was impressed with the guy who gave me a call from Golden. He went in depth and told me a lot of the verification process, why they say 9 to 14 holographics. It is, as some of you state in the description, or not in, well, I guess in the description of this video, but in the comment section of this video, that they do that just so that people don't really know what's going on. But there are options. You can have a certain level of deep dive where you don't actually know how many hollows there are, but as long as it's within a specific range, then it's hit that range, and so that they deem that it is authentic. And so that does not mean that there's necessarily 9 or 14. It's probably still going to be around that 11 or 12 or something like that, because that's what we see typically, but it could be within that range because that's a typical range that you find for a box like base set. And so they chose not to do the, I think he called it a deep dive into whether or not you want to know what hollows are in there. However, from the process that I was explained, they do actually take a sample of at least 1 or 2 holographics within the box, and they match it up to what should be coming from that set. And so while some of, like, there may be a few that are known, it's not actually going to be known to the person who gets this. It's just done for the authentication process from, I guess it's X-ray authority. The crimps and the seals, I was told that they do have experience with boxes that have had crimps and seals that have been opened up, so they can tell the difference between one that is fully sealed and one that's not. The density anomalies, I didn't ask much about that. I assume that has something to do with the card stock. And then the 36 packs with 11 cards, they do have the ability to check that out. And there was a few other things as well that we discussed in regards to how they check and authenticate and verify these boxes. And it convinced me so much that it flipped me from the side of, this seems really sketchy, I'm not so sure that they actually know what they're doing, to I requested, could I send a few of my own base set boxes? I would like to see what's going on here, and I'm hoping that I can get the full deep dive where it goes through everything. The most that I could find out as a customer what I can know about my box, and I just want to see, the whole process and what it's like from start to finish. And we discussed a few other things, but I did want to address that because I was very impressed with the information that I was presented with and how they actually talk, like what he said that they do. Now we're going to go into a little bit more detail. I think he's going to uh, set me up with somebody to where actually I can see more of the process, but there's only so much like I can see because I'm still like a customer and I'm not with the company themselves or anything like that. But I do want to see more, and so I'd love to know more about the process because it is nice knowing that you don't have to open that box to verify it. I mean, you guys know that I've been paranoid about a lot of the boxes that I've had, and I will open them up and then I'll check, 1 or 2 packs, and even that really isn't foolproof. And then I'll just put tamper evidence seals back on top of it. And now I'm confident to sell it for somebody, or I'm confident to keep it in my collection. But with this process, you don't have to do that. You can keep it intact, keep it in its original shape. The one thing I did ask about, he said he didn't know. He could probably talk to the company. Was like, does this cause these are being hit with X-rays? Like, how much X-ray power are we talking about here? Are there any residual effects that will be done to the cards, the packs, the box, the wrapper, or that's left on the material itself? And so I'm hoping to get some of that answered as well the next time I talk to them. And then last, we have this right here. We have the Illustrator. I did not talk with Golden at all about this card. We were both kind of rushed. But I did notice a comment from the Collector's Conundrum. He had put it into the comment section saying that the picture had been changed after the video. And so, I was like, surely not. But I went back to it, and sure enough, the picture's changed. And I didn't even notice right off the bat it was a complete different case because the picture is, it's completely different. We're going to look at that here in a second. But someone else on Instagram sent me a message, and he's like, hey, I'll check out this, and so I looked at it. It was a video showing where Golden was letting Ken Golden was letting Logan know that he actually recased it. He just went ahead and did it. He didn't even tell him about it, or that's what he says anyways. And so it's got a new case, which I think is a smart idea. The old case versus the new case PSA, it is much better. It's a lot cleaner looking, a lot more uniform. You can see right here it has the PSA. Hope I got my mic on. Yeah, right. It's got the PSA, holographic, thing right there in the middle. But the case itself, the frosting is a little bit deeper, so it's like it's still translucent, but it's not as transparent. And the front looks good, but then you look at the back, and it's like, wow, I don't see the scratches here. I don't see the scratches here. There was a deep scratch across this part of the case. So I do think that was a good move. The only thing that seems different, though, is that the white dot that was pretty prevalent right here in the top right, like if you didn't know what you were looking for, you wouldn't think that right there is, edge wear. So that's the only thing that I still have concerns about because, it is these are new scans, new pictures, new case, but it was definitely more obvious on the previous picture that there was a white dot there. And even down here, I think it was this corner, like on this top, well, after you come out of the curve, as soon as you hit the straightaway, there's supposed to be like a white dot there. And it's very small. You can't really make it out right there. And so to me, when I'm looking at this picture, this looks like a really strong 10, a really nice 10. And I don't think anybody would argue with the grade on the scan that we're seeing here. So looking at like the before and after, that's the only thing that I'm a little concerned with. But the case itself, having new scans, new pictures, that is explained by the fact that it was recased. It's going to have a new case. It's not going to have those same scratches on it anymore. And in fact, if you go to some of the other pictures, you can see it doesn't have the PSA hologram right there. You can see some of the scratches as well still present on the case, even with this blurred picture. But this is a complete different case. You can see it retained the same certification number, but this one with the new case, it does not, of course, have those scratches on the case because it's new. And, why would it, right? Who's going to mishandle this card now? But anyways, those are just a few things I wanted to talk about. Nothing too crazy there, but I did want to clear up the part that I was mistaken on, what I had my mind changed on, and then what was addressed in the comments section, because all three of those things are, I think they're noteworthy of talking about, but I also wanted to make sure I set the record straight where I was incorrect. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry, it's just a short one, and if you're getting hit by this ice storm, I hope you're bunkering in. I was really hoping for snow, but looks like we're just going to get hit with a bunch of ice here.